Alright, so I finally finished watching the entire season, well, up until episode 7 of Stranger Things season 4. I think I finished it last week or the week before. The same week I watched episode 1 was the same week I finished watching the first 7 episodes. I wasn't going to do that. Actually, as I mentioned before in my first video, and if you guys haven't seen it, hopefully I'll link it up somewhere here. The first episode turned me off. It wasn't what I expected. The horror genre or the demonic scenes per se is something that really, I guess you could say, scares me or frightens me, because it's, I mean, I know technically it's just a movie, a series, or whatever, but in some part of the universe, shit like that does exist, so, or at least I think so, and that shit has always kind of fucking freaked me out, let's put it that way. So episode 1, had I, continued with my freakiness, I would not have, honestly, I would not have watched episode 2 through 7. However, after watching episode 1, I decided to watch a different type of movie. I think it was Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger, or True Lies. Because I needed something to, just take away that bad vibration. Or that bad feeling that I got after watching the first episode of Stranger Things. So, I watched episode 2 of Stranger Things. And it was, how Murray would describe it, watered down. A lot more watered down. It was much more the Stranger Things that we're all used to seeing. So I was like, okay, if the rest of the episodes are like this, then I can tolerate it. So yeah, it was only after watching episode 2 that I decided this is tolerable for me. This is something I can probably work with. And of course, as the story evolved, the reasons why these people seemed possessed or what have you. So let's get started with what I think. I did like season 4. There were several discrepancies, and one of them obviously is Vecna, because let's start with a few other things. Let me put it that. Let me tell you the things that I did like. I loved my 80s Ocean Pacific clothes. I am from California, so I did used to wear Ocean Pacific clothing. There was a mall up at Santa Monica, right about a block away from Santa Monica Beach, or the Santa Monica Pier, I should say. And it was a store called Ocean Pacific, and it was my type of clothes. I used to love it. I mean, my mom would always say, "Oh, you look like a boy, tomboy," but I didn't give a fuck. It made me feel comfortable. It made me feel like normal. So that shirt that Mikey had, not the T-shirt, the shirt that he had over the orange one, looks almost identical to the one I had from Ocean Pacific. And I think Argyle is the one that tells him, "Oh, Ocean Pacific, dude," and he looks and it's not. But mine was, and it was almost identical to it. So I definitely related to that part of the story. Obviously, season 4 takes place in 1986. Now, in 1986, I was 14 years old. So obviously, I lived through the 80s music and what have you. And one thing that was nowhere near my radar was Kate Bush. Her music was not my style. Obviously, I was 14 years old, and my type of music was more like bubblegum pop, I guess, if you can call it that. Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Michael Jackson. I also liked alternative music like Duran Duran, Men at Work, so forth. Freestyle, which we call freestyle now, but back then we used to call it disco. I remember we used to call it disco. And then it's in Europe, it's called Eurodance. And those were, with artists like Expose, Come Go With Me, The Flirts, Dead or Alive. Oh, Dead or Alive is on this season, so I loved it. I think when they're skating, roller skating in the rink, the sound of Dead or Alive. You spin me round night, baby, round night, like a record, baby. Love it. And of course, heavy metal. I used to love Van Halen, Twisted Sister, AC/DC, and a bit of contemporary like REO Speedwagon, Chicago, Journey, and so forth. So that was my type of music. But Kate Bush, I never heard of her, really. Not until Stranger Things season 4. So, which seemed a little odd because someone with the age of, you know, Max's age per se, 15, I would say. Kate Bush is not the type of music that, you know, that she would have listened to. Kate Bush was the type of music that, like, the older adults listened to. Not the teenagers, not the ones that were in high school or junior high. And I get it why they selected that type of music or that specific song. I think the Duffer Brothers explained it beautifully. However, I guess that inconsistency of not having lived in the 80s is notable because they chose Kate Bush music. And I mean, at that age, at the age of Max's age, my age, we were not, that was not in our radar, really. You know, even now, had it not been for Stranger Things 4, season 4, I never would have listened to Kate Bush. It's nice, but again, not the type of music that I would have listened to then or even now, to be honest. So, but anyways, I liked it. Now, what I did like about season 4, getting back to the things that I did like, was that the comparisons to other fantasy sci-fi stories is great. For example, they stress that happy thoughts is what gives you the greatest power, not anger. And basically, obviously, what's his name? Oh God, the creepy guy, Creo, Creo's son. You know how we always told her, you know, what makes you mad, and then her powers will come out. But the same thing it was stressed in Harry Potter as far as happy thoughts, you know. And that basically, for me, was a comparison with obviously the magic within Harry Potter as well. You're able to expel the Patronus charm in the Harry Potter series when you think happy thoughts, when you're really happy. Same thing with Elle. I mean, her greatest powers are evident when she's happy, when she thinks happy thoughts, or she, you know, happy memories come back to her. So I like that. I love that comparison. What else? I love the Mordor comparisons. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings, and that was so true. It really looked like Mordor, and it reminded me of Galadriel at the beginning, in the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom. I thought that was awesome. So, anyways, let's see what else. I love the Carrie scene, obviously, and of course the Freddy Krueger comparisons. I love that. I think, but most of all, I love the fact that the black matter into another world is in line with all the fantasy stories. For example, that black matter. I guess not the demon, but it's gonna show in episode, I'm assuming, 8 and 9 of season 4, where, and it shows in one of the teaser trailers, where Hopper and Murray get a close up of the dust, or the Obscurial, or whatever fantasy sci-fi you want to call it, or the Demogorgon, or the demon, or what have you. Obviously, the dust, I'm referring to his Dark Materials, basically Philip Pullman's fantasy sci-fi trilogy. Obscurial, I'm referring to Harry Potter, and of course the Fantastic Beasts series. So, which is also in line, by the way, with with those Vatican recognized exorcisms, where they claim it is this kind of black dust or black matter that is barely visible in someone who has been through that. So I don't know how true. I've never been to one, so but that's what they say. So basically, that's, you know, that was some of the comparisons that I loved. My life's work has been on Louis XIV, and it is something similar to that, but not exactly. And of course, it is unfinished, by the way. So, all right. So one thing, as far as the demons, Because it doesn't really make sense. It's like, to me, it seems like they just threw Vecna there, the Vecna story, and it's for me, an entirely different story. I know that the intention, well, maybe the intention was to do 4 or 5 series, but originally, again, when they pitched it to Netflix, it was generally just a season. Like they said, it was the Goonies kids meet E.T. kind of deal. And of course, Netflix liked it so much, and obviously because I heard about it through word of mouth. I am part of several Facebook groups in the Goonies. A 1985 child. I was 13 years old. I love that movie. I saw it in theaters. And for me, that was how I heard about Stranger Things in its first season. So word of mouth was the one that actually made Stranger Things what it is today. So, and for those of us who were kids at that point, I guess I noticed it in the forums of the Goonies. So for me, that was what attracted me to the Stranger Things series in the first place, or the first episode, and then of course second, third, and fourth, and so forth. So after seeing episode 1, for me it was kind of like a huge depart from what I actually loved about Stranger Things, which was the kids part. And I was glad that they actually did kind of bring that back, and I think it was episode 2 or even 1, I don't remember. But when they get Erica to be part of the Hellfire Club, I think that part with Erica, Dustin, and the whole Hellfire Club is, for me, what makes it the kids club in episode 4, because the rest of it has been partly removed. Obviously, Elle is no longer living in Hawkins, and Mike went to look for her, and of course Will is odd. The only thing about Will is, from what I remember in episode 1, he was the magician in the Upside Down world. And I'm kind of hoping that wasn't just episode 1 kind of deal. That they didn't just leave it as, oh yeah, he was the magician in episode 1, but that was about it. No, I'm kind of hoping that he kind of has like a bigger role in it. So other than just the magician per se in episode 1. So yeah. So hopefully something comes out of that. Now let's go with Steve Harrington and Nancy, because I always liked Steve with Nancy. I always liked Nancy, or Steve for Nancy. Let's put it that way. Jonathan for me was okay. I know they're girlfriend boyfriend in real life or what have you, but I saw it more like her being with Jonathan, more like of a rebellion kind of thing. More like her getting that rebellious self thing that she had within her out of her system. But I always felt that it was more just like lust, like sexual with Jonathan, and there really was no real chemistry. At least that's what I perceived. I know they fought together in the first season and so forth with the second one, what have you, with the Demogorgon and what have you. But I always felt that she had a stronger connection with Steve, or at least that chemistry with Nancy and Steve was much more evident. And I don't know why they kind of like wrote off Steve, and I hope they didn't really write him off, and I hope they don't kill him off in season 4. But he redeemed himself in that first season. So I never understood, why. I mean, yes, I understood the part that Nancy, maybe needed to try something different than Steve. Steve was what the norm was expected of her, per se, like her mother with her dad. But I always saw her with Steve. I always thought she made a great couple with Steve, rather than Jonathan. Jonathan, I don't know. I never liked him, but that's just me, So basically, that's it. The music soundtrack was okay. I think for me the best one was obviously Dead or Alive. That was awesome for me. And I think there was another song. I forgot what it was. Rock Me Amadeus was also in season 4. But overall, I think the soundtrack in in season 3 was probably better. For me, a lot better than season 4. At least so far. Again, Kate Bush was nowhere near my radar. So, especially not at that age. Had I been older, it would have been different. So it's kind of hard for me to believe that Max, uh, generally that would be her favorite song. Like it kind of does not make sense. Not at her age, no. Had she been older, yeah, probably like um, Steve or Nancy's age. When they're out of high school already. But not when you're still in school. It's kind of like, no. Okay, so what I expect, what I hope. Again, I mentioned about Will. Hopefully, he's still the magician in the upside down world. I hope it's not just a season 1 thing, please. And he needs a real haircut. Come on now. Really, that haircut he has now is ridiculous. Okay, really. I don't know what the Duffer Brothers are thinking, but anyways. Another thing, I hope they don't kill off Steve again. I always wanted him with Nancy. I don't know if he's gonna turn into a demon because the bats got him, and kind of like, I don't want to say kind of like rabies, but kind of like in season 3, when I think I don't know if it was the mind flayer, when he kind of like grabbed onto her leg or bit off her, I don't know what he did, but you know how that there was something inside her leg, something like that. I think with Steve. I hope he doesn't turn into a demon. And I hope, again, he's not killed off because I love Steve. I think Steve Harrington is the best. And that hairstyle that Steve has, I actually had a classmate in 6th grade in 1984 with that hairstyle. So, really, true story. My brother and I, we always commented, like, does that remind you of so-and-so? Yes! So, that was funny. So, anyways. So I hope they don't kill off Steve. And of course, I would definitely love to see Suzy in a much bigger role. I wish maybe perhaps that she had telekinesis powers too. I think that would be cool. Since I was a kid or what have you, my brother and I would always, quote unquote fantasize about having telekinesis powers. So one time we just were in our room, we focused like God knows how, and we had those inflatable bunnies with the stick up ears like this, So our goal at that time when we put our minds to it, because they had always told us it's mind over matter. You can make anything move with your mind as long as you put effort into it. In other words, it's mind over matter. Make sure you know that. So we took this inflatable bunny, and the ears were sticking up, and we decided, we're going to make his ear move, We never thought we would achieve it, but true story, his fucking ear went like this. And this was after concentrating, I think, about 20 minutes. We were, really, into it. And I swear that ear went like this. My brother and I looked at each other, we're like, did you see that? Oh my God. We got fucking scared and we fucking ran out of our house. True story. So, does telekinesis exist? In my book, yeah. In my experience, hell yeah. So anyways, I wish Suzy does have telekinesis. So, anyways, so that's what I think about season 4 of Stranger Things. A few things that hopefully they don't forget about, and really hope Steve is not killed off. One thing I did want to mention, Hopper, when he ate that peanut butter, oh my God, I so identified with him in that scene. And I so identified with it because I was traveling for several years throughout Latin America. And when I came back home, actually I hadn't got back home. I went to one of those supermarkets and I saw peanut butter. Oh my God, I went fucking crazy. I bought like 4 jars of peanut butter that day. And as soon as they checked me out, I opened that lid and oh my God. I completely felt Hopper when he ate peanut butter. I mean, best feeling ever. Peanut butter. Oh my God, comfort. I never thought I would say it. I lived in LA all my life, so having lived in the US and LA, I never missed it. Obviously, I never missed hamburgers, real hamburgers. But when I started traveling, yes, I did. I missed real hamburgers. I missed my peanut butter sandwich. I missed burritos, because if you think that's Mexican food, try going to Mexico and trying to find burritos. They don't exist. So, yeah. So anyways, that's my review on Stranger Things so far. Season 4, episodes 1 through 7. Obviously we're still waiting for episodes 8 and 9, so, but that's where we stand. And once I see episodes 8 and 9, I will let you guys know what I think. But I'd like to hear from you. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I know there was a deviation as far as the story setting, and that as far as episode 1, that turned me off. But I don't know how that effect was on everybody else. Was it a better change for you guys, or not? Or what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.